If you, the 8th question. Why hair because of angels of 1 Corinthians? Now somebody get me 1 Corinthians, the 11th chapter, and we'll see there that you'll find out that in 1 Corinthians the 11, we find out that Paul is speaking. Let me get over to it just a minute, and then we'll read it right quick, and then we'll have it down. I got something to say on this other verse here that I hope the Lord gives it to us the way we should have it. Somebody find, I think that's the 11th chapter. Yeah. All right. Now listen real close now, so that you'll understand. Now, take all your conscience and put it in your vest pocket after I read this. Listen real close. This is, thus saith the Lord. Be followers of me, even as I am of Christ. Paul said, you follow me, just as I follow Christ. Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things and keeping of the ordinances as I delivered unto you. But I would have you to know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God. See how it is? God, Christ, man, woman. Now, every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonors Christ. But every woman praying or prophesying with her head uncovered, dishonors her head. Now, we get this a minute to show you that the hair to the woman is her covering. For that even all one as if she was shaven. That means if she's going to cut her hair, then shave it off. For if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. Shorn means shaven, see? But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. Now we're getting right down to the question you're asking, see? All right. Now, it is wrong for a lady to cut her hair, according to the Bible. Now, you listen right here and see if the Bible don't give a man a legal right to put away his wife if she cuts her hair. See if this is right or not. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, that's have long hair, for so much as he is in the image and the glory of God, but the woman is in the glory of the man. Did you ever think of that? Now, I want to stop here because I want this to soak in real good, see? And I remember, I've seen tens of thousands of lovely women, know them right now, plenty of them sitting in this church, that has short hair, that's Christians, and what I laid on to is not you, it's the way you've been taught, see? That's it. Your preacher never told you this. But if any of the women around tabernacle like that, then they're guilty, see? Because we sure tell them about it. Now watch this. A man, for 7th verse, for a man. Now, who's speaking here? Sometimes a lady say, oh, Paul was an old woman hater. Well, now, while we're at that, let's just turn over here to Galatians 1:8 and see what Paul says about this, see? In Galatians 1:8, you'll find out that Paul said here in Galatians 1:8, though we are an angel from heaven, preach any other gospel in this you've already heard, let him be accursed. Now, don't blame me, you blame him, see? For a man indeed ought not to cover his head for so much as he is in the glory and the image of God. But the woman is in the glory and the image of man. Now, watch the next verse. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman is of the man. Neither was the man created for a woman, but the woman was created for a man. Now, I mean this now with real love and sweetness. I hope you understand the same way. I say this, but America, as an international traveler, America has some of the most low-down, degraded rules for their women of any nation in the world. Paris, France could be a sky-high scraper up the side of the way America lets their women do. It's a disgrace. Did you realize that the God of America is woman? I can prove that to you by this Bible. That's right. Do you realize it has to come that way so the Catholic Church can bring in their doctrine of the Virgin Mary? Now, if a woman was made not for a man, now if a man was not made for a woman, but woman made for a man, then how are you going to worship a woman? See? Now, what did it? It started in Paris and landed in Hollywood. Now, Paris has to come to Hollywood to get their models. and get their fashions and things. It's the degrading of our American women. What is it? Our nation has come so little until they've even taken the jobs away from the man and put women out here in these places till 90% of them nearly are prostitutes. And talk about man being gone short because they got women out there in their jobs. And got so low down until they put women as peace officers on the street. That's a disgrace to any nation. Yes, sir. What are you going to do by it? What do you do by it, Brother Branham? I have to respect it. I'm an American citizen. I do what the big boss says do. If a family ever loses its respect for the family, the children lose their respect to the parents, that family's tore to pieces. If a church ever loses respect of its pastor, well, that church is gone. And if a nation ever loses their respect of the Supreme Court and its decisions, that nation has gone to pieces. That's exactly right. We've got to respect those things because they're the big boss. See? But it isn't right in the beginning. Absolutely. Did you know that a man in the Bible of Genesis, the first chapter, when God created woman and man, and made the man and woman, and God told Eve that your husband will rule over you, be your ruler? Speak that in America and see where you'll get. Oh, it's not that the woman rules over the man. They have to do that. The public places are set up. I could bring women, if I had to, from my room there by the dozens of decent women. I don't say all women shouldn't sometimes have to work. Maybe they've got a sick husband or something, they have to work. But if they don't have to, they shouldn't do it. Their places at home, their little castle. That's exactly where they should be. And our American women's been privileged to go and eat hog or die. Even in all animals and so forth. When that thing prevails, it takes place and it degrades the whole race of it. There's a little bird in Africa, and she's a little tick bird. Now, usually, the female is always the ugliest of the two. The male's always the most beautiful. The male deer, the male elk, the male pheasant, the male chicken, and always is the most, because the female is the home bird. She sits on the nest, she raises her little ones. She's disguised in the hawk, the snake, the coyote, whatever more. See? To raise her little ones. But in the race in the sex that the woman or the female prevails in beauty, it's always a degrading type. In Africa, you take a bird. There's a little bird there, and the only one on the continents that I know of, that the female is more prettier than the male. And when it does, that bird is a constant prostitute. She'll run around and find a mate and run out and lay a bunch of eggs after she's mated with that and let the mate sit on the eggs while she goes and hunts another mate. That's exactly right. See what I mean? Now look, in America today, of our women, a young man from Kentucky told me a few days ago that there was 800 women working at a certain plant here in Kentucky. And he said, I could possibly feel safer in swearing that 400 of them is absolutely street prostitutes and married women with children. One guy took his wife out there and worked her up with a board, and then he liked to kill her, and another one to shoot a man, another cutting and fighting. That shouldn't be. That's not right. Put the woman back in the kitchen where she belongs, and everything will be all right. But you put her out there in public works, she's gone. Absolutely. I don't say that. The American women snigger up their nose and say there's nothing to that, and you show me. Certainly, you've got to do it because the Bible predicted you would do it. You have to do it. And here, when it used to be a long time ago in the Methodist Church, if a woman cut her hair, she's put out of the church. Certainly they did. Yes, indeed. Nazarenes, Pilgrim Holiness, Pentecostals, all of them used to do it. What happened? You know why? You got some sissies behind the pulpit. That's exactly right. Somebody's afraid their meal ticket, afraid you'd excommunicate them, run them out of the church. They didn't have the very audacity to stand on God's Word, whether it hurt or whether it didn't. That's exactly right. Listen here, a man is the ruler. Don't you think you rule the house? You're not the ruler of the house. You're not a slave now, but you're a helpmate. And Adam, the man, has the rule over his wife, and he's responsible solely for his wife. God makes a man answer for his wife. Now, read and see if God says that now. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for so much as he is in the image and the glory of God. God is not a woman, God's a man. You know, when they make Virgin Mary and all that, and intercessions and everything like that, and pray to Virgin Mary, you know what it reminds me of? The great goddess Diana, who Paul rebuked and run out.
Amen.
That's right. He said, well, God ain't no woman. A rock fell out in the field, and they said the goddess stole down their image. That's the reason the women at Corinth and up and there worship Diana, they wanted to become preachers. They said, well, the Spirit told us we could preach. He said, what came the Word of God out of you and came it from you only? If any man thinks himself to be spiritual or prophet, let him acknowledge what I say is the commandments of the Lord. Let a woman keep silent and be under subjections in the church, not the teacher to have any authority. Exactly. That's what the Scripture says. See, and God's going to make a bunch of preachers answer for that at the day of judgment. Well, listen, you say, well, I tell you, I was taught that. You know better now.
Amen.
That's right. If you're somebody, you start taking a dose of medicine, somebody tells you it's arsenic, and you go ahead and take it anyhow, that's your own fault after that. See? Now, listen to this. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman is of the man. For this cause ought a woman to have power on her head because of the angels. Any of you read it? 1 Corinthians 11th chapter and the 10th verse. If you notice, power, why of the angels? 1 Corinthians, because the angels is the man, the messenger. Look, it's a little A again. Where angels are concerned of heavenly angels, it's a big A, capital A. Where it's a little a, it's man. Angels. Nevertheless, neither is there man or woman, neither is the woman without the man in the Lord. For as the woman is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman. All things are of God. Judge yourself. Is it commonly for a woman to pray to God with short hair, uncovered? Think of it now. Now what? Does not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair? Say, what did it pertain to? Hair. Don't you see what Paul's talking about? Hair. Long hair. If the woman ought to have long hair. 14th verse now. Does not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it's a shame to him? You get it? It's a shame for a man to have long hair, but that's a woman's place. God made a man different from a woman, sex and in looks and in everything else. She ought to wear a garment. The Bible said that if a woman will put on a pair of slacks or any garment that pertains to a man, it's an abominable and dirty and filthy sight in the front of God. And God will make her pay for it. Who you going to listen to? That this is the Bible. And you run around and say, well, I think it's nice for see women wearing slacks, but God made them different. He wants them dressed different. And the Bible said if a woman will even put on a garment that pertains to a man, it's an abomination. You know what abomination is? It's something that's filthy in the sight of God. The great Jehovah who looks down upon you as being a filthy thing. And the Bible said, and so some of you ladies now, to your young girls around in teenage, 18, 20 years old, letting her run out here dressed like she is. And you too, Mama. See, when you go out and wear those slacks and things and get on the street and have those old clothes that they make it nowadays and make you look like something that you're not. See? And you go out there on the street all sexily looking, you might be just as innocent and pure before your husband and everything, but if you go out on the street and a man looks upon you because you present yourself like that, you're guilty and going to answer at the day of judgment for committing adultery with every man that looked at you like that. That's what the Bible said. The Bible said, whosoever looketh upon a woman to lust after her has committed adultery with her in his heart already, and you're guilty. And you come to the judgment and say, Lord, you know my heart. I never committed adultery. I lived true to my husband. But here will be a man. Here will be another. Here another 15, 20, 30, 40 of them stand there saying, guilty of adultery. Why? Some man looked upon you. Well, I had nothing to do with it. Well, why'd you present yourself like that for? When God told you not to put them on, it's an abomination to do it, and you go listen to Who Loves Susie, or what's that? Did you find out what's taking place with that Who Loves Susie's husband? You all seen that here recently in the paper. When we was out in Casper, Wyoming, he come out. What's his name, that guy on that We Love Susie, or what the world is that? What y'all stay there on Wednesday night and miss prayer meeting to see? What is that now? We Love, what is the name of that? I Love Lucy. Her husband, supposed to be surrounded, had been caught out yonder at Reno, Nevada with a colored girl who had been living with her for years. And that's what you stay home to see instead of going here in the gospel. The woman confessed it. Oh, mercy. There's nothing clean outside of Jesus Christ. Amen. Bless your heart, brother. I'll tell you, you got some of the, you say, oh my, look at the class. Some of the very worst vultures we got, the scavengers are pretty birds. You can't judge a bird by its feathers. See? So just remember that. Oh my. Now watch. Does not even nature, that's the 14th verse, teach you that it's a shame for a man to have long hair? That belongs to a woman. But if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her. Now what's he talking about? A hat that you Catholic people wear in church? No, indeed. A little covering over top of your head, the handkerchief? He's talking about your hair. Now, and if a woman cuts off her hair, she cuts off her glory, and it's not permitted to the altar to pray. Just what I said here. Isn't it a common thing for a woman to go pray with the head uncovered? So if she says, well, she got to cut her hair, so let her be shaved all slick then. If she's going to be shaved all slick, so that's a dishonor. It's a shame for a woman to do that. Then says she ought to be covered. I'm just reading Paul's letter. It's up to you, see. But if the woman have long hair, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given to her for a covering. Did it say she be given a hat, you Catholic people? Or you Protestants, either one, that goes to church and wants to wear a hat, say, well, I'm going to church, you ought to put on a hat. No, you ought to let your hair grow. That's the difference. See? For her hair is given to her for a covering, and it's a shame for her to come in church without covered. Go to the altar to pray. But if a man seem to be, I don't believe I can pronounce that word. Contentious. You know what contentious is? We have no such custom in the Church of God. Now, if you want to argue about it, you argue with that. All right. If you want to be contentious, now, it don't make any difference. Let's let it go ahead. Well, I think it's nothing. It's not what the hair is anyhow. It's what the heart is. That's true. If the heart's right, the hair will be right. Go ahead. You want to be contentious, Paul said we have no such custom in the Church of God. So if you want to belong to Cain's side, well, just go ahead. But this is my Paul. Oh, I don't mean to laugh, because it's not a laughing matter, but I tell you, friends, it's a shame to see the way that these things have been permitted to do. Listen, to you, my dear sisters, I want you to look your best and be your best. That's what you ought to be. That's what you ought to be. And you ought to be as sweet and fresh and everything as you can when your husband comes, just the same as that was your sweetheart. And you ought to meet him at the door with just as the kiss is sweet to him as it was the day you kissed him at the altar to be your husband. It's right. I don't blame you from looking your best and being your best. And I want you to be that way. God knows I do. Here some time ago, I was talking to Jack Shuler. Who ever heard of Jack Shuler? The most famous preacher the Methodists has got. He said a woman come and said, hair all dirty and chewing gum, and her clothes half on. Said, you know, my husband won't even put up with me anymore. He said, I don't blame him. That's right. Now, but what you've got to do, you've got to be in the right way. Don't take your freshness and beauty out of Hollywood. Take it out of the Bible before God. Be a lady. Act like a lady. Dress like a lady. Be clean. Act like a lady. Don't wear those. Any man that lets his wife get out and wear those little old things before man and them little old things, get out and lawn mow the yard and things like that. Mister, I'm telling you, brother, I don't mean to be mean. God knows that. That's my heart. But I'm going to have to change a whole lot before I let mine do it. I'm going to be boss up on the hill up there as long as I can, you see. And when I can, I'm going to move off. That's right. Oh, brother, that's a shame and a disgrace for women to do that. And I don't mean, sister, I'm not degrading you. I'm just trying to say our church here has no members. People just come here. But this is a house of God. And we absolutely tell people not to wear those things that you're going to answer for it at the day of judgment. Now, watch it and let your hair grow out, see? And be a lady. Now in this that is I declare unto you, I praise you not for that you come together, not for the better, but for the worse. For first of all, when you come together in the church, I hear that there are divisions among you, and so forth. It goes on now to the communion table. Now, listen to that. That's why that angels, now Brother Palmer, I ain't telling you on this tape. You preach the same thing that I'm doing here. But you know very well that you being a preacher, you know that's the truth, brother. All right. So the angels here are the man. If you notice, Brother Palmer, it's in the little letter. The angels in the Bible goes ahead. He's talking about the man and his wife. See? That's what the subject is. That's why people get so confused in the Bible. They say, well, God says one thing here and one... No, you get off the subject. Stay right on the same subject, that's all. He's talking about man and wife. Now,